Caffeine, the ubiquitous stimulant found in coffee, strong tea, and various other beverages, has long been a staple of daily life. A morning cup of coffee jump-starts the day. An afternoon pot of tea brings a sense of calm. Yet, as age advances, particularly for those over 65, what was once a trusted companion can quietly turn into a hidden adversary. Sleepless nights, a racing heart, and unexplained anxiety may trace their roots back to those familiar drops of caffeine. Science has illuminated this through numerous studies, and leading US experts agree, excessive caffeine poses a significant concern for the health of older adults. To begin, it's essential to understand how caffeine operates in the body. Upon drinking a cup of coffee, caffeine swiftly enters the bloodstream and reaches the brain, where it competes with adenosine, a naturally occurring chemical that signals sleepiness. By binding to adenosine receptors, caffeine blocks relaxation signals, putting the central nervous system into a state of alertness. In younger individuals, this effect typically lasts 4 to 6 hours, providing a boost without long-term disruption. However, for older adults, the story shifts. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine in 2018 reveals that caffeine's half-life, the time it takes the body to eliminate half the substance, can extend from 5 hours to 8 to 10 hours in those over 65. This occurs because the liver, which metabolizes caffeine via the cytochrome P450 enzyme, slows with age. The result? A cup of coffee consumed at 6 p.m. may linger in the system until midnight, sufficient to disrupt sleep. Sleep, already fragile in older adults, becomes even more vulnerable to caffeine's effects. Dr. Matthew Walker, a renowned neuroscientist at the University of California, Berkeley, and author of Why We Sleep, notes that deep sleep, the REM phase, naturally diminishes with age. Caffeine exacerbates this decline. A 2020 study from Harvard University found that in older adults, consuming more than 200 milligrams of caffeine, daily equivalent to 1 to 2 small cups of coffee, reduces deep sleep duration by 20%. This phase is critical for physical recovery and memory consolidation. When interrupted, the brain struggles to clear waste products like beta-amyloid, a protein linked to Alzheimer's disease, potentially increasing the risk of cognitive decline over time. Thus, caffeine's impact extends beyond mere sleeplessness. It may silently compromise long-term brain health. Sleep isn't the only casualty. Anxiety, vague unease, or persistent tension frequently emerges in older adults who overconsume caffeine. Dr. Charles Chisler, head of sleep medicine at Harvard Medical School, explains that caffeine activates the hypothalamic pituitary, or HPA axis, the body's stress regulation system. When triggered, this axis releases cortisol, the stress hormone, into the bloodstream. In younger people, the body can quickly regulate cortisol levels, but in older adults, the system grows more sensitive. A 2019 study in the American Journal of Psychiatry found that consuming over 300 milligrams of caffeine daily increases cortisol levels by 25% in those over 60, leading to persistent anxiety and even mild psychological distress. Alarmingly, many fail to connect this to their coffee or tea habits, attributing it instead to aging or external stressors. Is caffeine entirely harmful? Not quite. Research also highlights benefits when used moderately. For instance, a 2019 report in Neurology from Johns Hopkins University suggests that a low dose of caffeine, around 100 to 150 milligrams daily, can enhance cognitive function and lower Parkinson's disease risk by stimulating the brain's dopamine. Yet the line between benefit and harm is thin, particularly regarding timing. Dr. Marie-Pierre Estionge, a nutrition expert at Columbia University, advises that older adults avoid caffeine after 2 p.m. The circadian rhythm, the internal clock governing sleep and wakefulness, becomes more susceptible to disruption with age. Caffeine. By suppressing melatonin, the hormone that signals the body to prepare for sleep, can throw this rhythm off course, turning bedtime into a struggle. What happens when the safe threshold is crossed? The American Geriatric Society recommends capping caffeine at 200 milligrams daily for those over 65. But many inadvertently exceed this. A strong drip coffee can contain 150 to 200 milligrams, while a large pot of black tea might push the total to 300 to 400 milligrams if sipped throughout the day. The consequences extend beyond sleep and anxiety. Dr. David Gerlink, a pharmacologist at the University of Toronto, though not US-based, he collaborates closely with American peers, warns that excessive caffeine heightens the risk of cardiac arrhythmias. A 2021 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that consuming over 300 milligrams daily increases the risk of atrial fibrillation, a common arrhythmia in older adults. This stems from caffeine's stimulation of the sympathetic nervous system, causing the heart to beat faster and, at times, irregularly. Moreover, caffeine acts as a diuretic, increasing urine production. In younger individuals, the body compensates for fluid loss easily. But in older adults, water retention declines as kidney function wanes. A 2020 study in the Journal of Gerontology showed that drinking more than 2 cups of coffee daily raises the risk of mild dehydration by 15% in those over 65, leading to fatigue, dry mouth, and even low blood pressure. This risk amplifies in hot weather or when combined with diuretic medications commonly prescribed to older adults for hypertension. Digging deeper, caffeine also affects the digestive system, an often overlooked aspect. At high doses, it stimulates gastric acid secretion, potentially causing reflux or discomfort in older adults with thinner stomach linings. Dr. Lisa Ganju, a gastroenterologist at NYU Langone Medical Center, notes that frequent consumption of strong tea or black coffee increases the risk of irritable bowel syndrome or ulcers. While not universal, this vulnerability underscores that excessive caffeine isn't a wise choice for the aging digestive tract. So, what's the solution when coffee or tea is a deeply ingrained habit? Complete elimination isn't necessary. Scientific adjustment is key. First, restrict intake timing. Experts agree caffeine should be limited to mornings, ideally before noon, to avoid impacting evening melatonin production. Second, reduce dosage gradually rather than abruptly. A sudden cessation can trigger headaches or fatigue, a phenomenon known as caffeine withdrawal. A 2017 study in psychopharmacology suggests cutting intake by 25% weekly to allow the body to adapt without stress. Substitutes offer another path. Herbal teas like chamomile, containing apigenin flavonoid with mild sedative effects, a popular evening alternative to strong tea. Warm lemon water in the morning, with its vitamin C boosting metabolism, provides alertness without caffeine. Even unsweetened hot cocoa, rich in theobromine, gentler stimulant than caffeine, emerges as an intriguing option, per Dr. St. Eng. These choices are not only safe, but also nutritionally supportive for older adults. Ultimately, lifestyle plays a pivotal role. Quality sleep doesn't hinge solely on avoiding caffeine, but also on maintaining a consistent schedule. Engaging in light exercise, like a 20-minute walk, and minimizing blue light exposure from screens before bed. Anxiety, too, eases with relaxation techniques like meditation or deep breathing, rather than relying on coffee to wake the mind. Science backs this. A 2022 study in Sleep Medicine Reviews found that combining healthy habits improves sleep quality by 30% in older adults, even those previously reliant on caffeine. Caffeine isn't an enemy, But for older adults, it demands careful consideration. A morning coffee can remain a joy, yet as night falls, the body deserves rest, not stimulation, from those potent drops. Leading US experts, from Dr. Walker to Dr. Chisler, affirm sleep and mental health are precious assets, and excessive caffeine isn't worth the trade-off. Adjust today, and the body will thank you tomorrow.